אני כותב לך מכתב מלא בגעגוע, את כל סיפור חיי מזיל כמו פרץ של דמעות. אל תעזוב, תיתן לי כוח להמשיך קדימה, גם כך גרוני ניחר, ליבי אינו יכול לשאת. המחשבות מתרוצצות בתוך ראשי כל לילה, קשה כל כך ללב לחוש את מה שנעלם. את זאת אני יודע שאתה נמצא כל רגע, נסתר ממני ומכל אדם שבעולם. אלוקים אל תשליכני, אל תעזוב אותי לעולם.
Welcome to our Wednesday night shiur. Tonight our shiur is Lahatzlachat. All our rebakim, all the single people, anybody who needs refuah shlema, anybody who needs shalom bayit, anybody who needs parnasat tova, basically all of Am Yisrael. May Hashem bless all those with bracha, v'atzlacha, yishod, especially our dear friend who is mizaket harabim. It's a very big mitzvah. Zchut harabim tuluya bechag ariyachai benam. May Hashem yirech otcha b'bracha v'atzlacha. All those people who listen to the lectures because of you, they're all your children. I'm serious, they're all your children. And very happy to see everyone here today. Wednesday night. Tonight is Chav Dalet Sivan, also the Hilulah of Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. We're not going to speak about him right now, but if you guys are going to wait a little bit, 30-40 minutes, maybe at the end of the shiur, we're going to mention a little something about his life, 5-10 minutes. A couple of interesting stuff to say about him. A couple of very interesting stuff. Today our shiur is going to be based on something in this week's parasha. I usually don't like to do this because I usually like to save the parasha for Shabbat. But since this week's parasha is so jam-packed, so much stuff to talk about, so I felt comfortable of saying something about this week's parasha tonight. The parasha starts off very interestingly. Torah says, Hashem said to Hashem, Shlach lecha anashim, send for you people. Send. Where are you going to send to? To Eretz Yisrael. Spies. Send the spies. Ish echad l'matei avodat tishlahu, kol nasi bahem, every leader. Every leader, there were many leaders. You have, for example, a rabbi that commands a community of 1,000 people. You have a rabbi that commands a community of 10 people, of 100 people. You have a rabbi of a community, a rabbi of a city, a rabbi of a country, right? You have the chief rabbi of Israel, chief rabbi of the Bukharians, chief rabbi of the Moroccans. You have so many. In the Midbar, it was the same exact thing. These people despise. They were, the lower leaders. Community leaders. Community guys. One of the spies, since Levi didn't go, because that's Moshe Rabbeinu's tribe, they don't get a nachala in Eretz Yisrael. The whole point was to check how the land looks like, right? And since Levi doesn't have a portion, he doesn't get to pick a portion, so therefore, he doesn't have to go. So Yosef sends two, Menashe and Ephraim. Who goes for Ephraim? A man called Hoshea bin Nun. Hoshea bin Nun, the son of Nun.
Joshua.
We know him as Joshua.
Yeah, I was thinking of
Yehoshua.
I never heard of Joshua.
And the Torah says,
Joshua.
You gotta think about it like this. When Moshe Rabbeinu was writing this, we have to say what was going through his head. In the middle of the story where the Torah already calls Yehoshua a couple of times. By the golden calf, it calls him Yehoshua. By the fight of Amalek, it calls him Yehoshua. Suddenly the Torah says that his name was really Hoshea. And Moses comes to him right now at the end of the second year where the Jews were inside the desert, traveling in the desert, right before they got into the border. And he says to him, from now on, your name is not Hoshea, it's what?
Yehoshua.
Yehoshua. Wait a second. We just spent half a book calling him Yehoshua.
Now it's again.
Now you're telling me that his real name was Hoshea and Moses right now called him Yehoshua? And Rashi is even more cryptic. Rashi says, why did Moshe change his name? You know, when do we change people's names? When they're sick, right? What do you usually add to them? Chaim, Chai, this, that. That's not called changing the name. That's called adding to the name.
I thought you changed that name whenever they were not name.
That's something else, right? He never had a name to begin with. It's very bad to change a person's name. You can't suddenly decide, well, today my name is Michael, tomorrow my name is going to be Moshe.
What if it's like a middle name? You have a middle name and decide.
Middle name is something else. He wants to, but he was called that already. When Rav Elyashiv, Zecher Yitzchak Rav Elyashiv, the head of the Litvish Jews, head of the Ashkenazi Jewry, when he was very sick, they wanted to change his name. His son-in-law, Rav Chaim Kanievsky, said you can't change his name. Don't change his name. He was already like 90. They wanted to live longer. They didn't know what to do without him. You know, when a leader dies, who are you going to go to that? You're already used to asking. Imagine you ask one rabbi a question for 30 years. Suddenly you have to tell you, now you have to ask someone else. It's hard to change. So they wanted to change his name from Yosef Shalom to Chaim. To change it completely. Rav Elyashiv says you can't do that. When you change a person's name, you change his mazal. When you change his mazal, he's a new person. You're taking away his glory, you're taking away all his mitzvot. You did your mitzvot under the name Avraham. Now you want to change it to Yitzchak? You're a new person, you're starting fresh. Yeah, you're starting fresh. What happened to all the mitzvahs you did?
What about add-ons? Also change?
Add-ons doesn't change, because you're adding it on. When they changed Rabbi Ovadiah's name right before he died to Rabbi Ovadia Chaim Yosef, on his tombstone, you ever visited his tomb? You visit. You see over there, does it say the name Chaim? It doesn't say the name Chaim. They erased the name. Why did they erase the name? If you didn't call the guy that name for 30 days straight, it doesn't exist. We added it, doesn't exist. He died within 30 days, this guy, it's finished. The Chida Kadosh, which we're going to mention him today, if you guys wait till the end, obviously, and hear a little story of Mordechai Eliyahu, which today is your side. The Chida Kadosh, he was a world traveler. His mother was, I believe, Ashkenazi, and his father was Sephardi. He traveled the world. He gets to Italy towards the end of his life, and that he knew. He dies over there eventually. In Italy, famous story that he writes in his book Ma'agal Tov. He has a book, his diary, his personal diary, how he went to all different countries. He gets to Italy and he goes to the cemetery over there. What does he see on the cemetery? Here lies Sean, the son of Peter. Here lies, Moses, the son of Aaron. All Goyish names. You know what happened over here? The Jewish people lost their what? Identity. The Jewish people, when they were in Egypt, they didn't change three things. Their language, their names, and their dress code. When you change your name, you change your identity. If my name is Aharon, I can't go by the name Aaron. Some people have it easy. Ariel stays Ariel, so it doesn't make a difference. You understand? Last name is very important. I'm not going to deal with it right now, but it's also very important to your name. The Gra once had a student that his last name equaled 100, the numerical value of 100. It's also the numerical value of Samech Mem. So he told him, change your last name right away or else you're never going to get married. So this is a side story. So your last name has a lot of power too. Your last name. I'm not going to answer that right now. And Yehoshua, so your person's name has a lot of power. And in fact, we can tell everything a person is through his name. What's the first letter of your name? What's the last letter of your name? For example, people who have their names, first letter starts with the letter Yud. Letter Yud. They're very humble people. They like to make themselves small. They have that in them. There's also environmental things that could change it, but they have it in them to be humble. Person who has the letter Shin in the beginning of their name. They're very fiery people, so the Ish. Person who has the letter Gimel in front of his name. His first letter of his name is the letter Gimel. He's a person who likes to do chesed. Gimel chasadim. Person who has the first letter of his name Daled. He's a very self-centered person. He only likes to see himself. He can't see anyone else. Very self-centered.
How about Ariel?
There's a lot of different things in a person's name. So Rashi says something very cryptic.
Aleph.
Rashi says, okay, I'm going to go through all the alphabet over here. A person, Rashi says very cryptic. Moshe looks at Yehoshua, whose real name is Hoshea, and he says to him, I'm adding you the letter Yud. Why? I see you're very humble. So I pray for you, Yah, God's name. Hoshiacha, may he save you from the advice of spies. So he made his name Hoshea to what? Yehoshua. What does that mean? Because he saw he was humble? So we just said a person who changes a person's name changes his whole mazal. How can you change his mazal just like that? That's not fair. You know? My name is Shalom, for example. When people say my name in the Yiddish accent, like Shulem, I get very upset because you're changing the whole nikudot over there. My name is not Shulem, it's Shalom. I have a cholem in my name, not a teret. You're changing my mazal. Don't do that. You know? My son's name is Eliyahu Yonatan. I make sure to call him Eliyahu Yonatan. At least a couple of times a day. This is your mazal. The more letters you have in your name, the more kedusha you have in your name. The more power you have in your name. You know, Ashkenazim used to call, where did these names come? Like Dov. There's a name like a Dov, right? What does Dov mean? Bear. Where did that name come like that? Bear. Ashkenazi call, Hasidim say Dov Bear. Magna Mezrich. They have Dov Bear. Or their name is Ze'ev, wolf. And the name is Ze'ev. You're calling your child out of a wolf? Or a name Tivia. Tivia means a deer. You're calling your child a deer?
A lot of Bukharians with that name.
I'm not going to try to get personal, you know what I'm saying? Liv, that's Russian for lion. Or Aryeh, lion. The Chida writes in Shema Gedolim, this minhag started from the Ashkenazim. Sfaradim never had such a thing. We always stuck to the traditional ones. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ashkenazim, they used to live in very cold countries. In cold countries, they used to get sick faster. So they used to name their children after animals. Why? What's the difference? Animals survive much longer in the wild than humans. So they will call their children after animals so they should live longer. That's how the name started. And it turned into a tradition. Aryeh, Ze'ev, this, that, barari, baraboom. A name has immense power. They would, in fact, for example, in the Bukharian world, I know this. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. When they would have kids dying, they wouldn't give him a name. They would call him Bechor, the firstborn. If they were afraid that children would die, what would they say? They would call him Bechor. In Iraq, for example, if children would die very early, the next child, they wouldn't give him a name. What would they call him? Tzedakah. Did you hear what I just said? They would call him Tzedakah. Why tzedakah? He's Hashem's charity for me. He doesn't have a name. He's Hashem's. He doesn't belong to me. If I have a bad, mazal, I don't want him to die. His name is Tzedakah. In fact, one of the greatest Iraqi leaders was Rav Tzedakah Hussein. Not Hussein, Hussein. Hussein.
No, because my daddy did it. Right?
So Barack Obama. Barack is also the name of one of the Shoftim of Israel. Yeah, Barak ben Avinoam, the husband of Devorah. Doesn't mean that the name Barak right now is bad.
You ruined it for everybody.
He ruined it from today, from the time he was arrested to the end of the generation. That's something else. If you're a conservative, if you're a leftist, Barak is the name of Kedusha.
Nobody knew that.
Nobody. They would call him Tzedakah. Or for example, you know what they used to do also in Bukhara? I heard this from an old Bukharian guy. If they would have children who would die in Tashkent, Dushanbe, and places like that, kids used to die because the winters were very cold. They would ask,
Because of
epidemics, viruses, this, that. They would ask the rabbi to name the child. But we're not the kid's parents. You're the parent. It's under you. The rabbi has a lot of zichuts. Name has a lot of power. If your name is Avraham, don't let people call you Avi. Your name is Avraham. If your name is Yitzhak, don't be called Yitzi or Yitz. Your name is Yitzhak. If your name is David, your name is not Dave.
But giving the kid double name, like
Yeah.
for example, you know in the future that he's not going to call him double name.
You call him by that name. You call him by that name. Sometimes
At
people
least the
give. I
parents,
want to give you
huh?
a famous story about names. Tzadik, pay attention. There's a famous Ashkenazi name, Shneor. Shneor. You know that name, right? Alter Rebbe. Shneor. Shneor. Not Shnelo. Not Shnelo. No. Shneor. That's two lights. It means two lights. It's a very famous Ashkenazi. In Chabad, every other guy is Shneor. Shneor Zalman. You know how they got that name, Shneor? What does Shneor really mean? Two lights, right? There was one guy in Poland in the Rishonim time. He had a son. He wanted to name his son Meir, which is a known Jewish name. His wife wanted to name after her father Uri. Uri also means light. So the rabbi said, we'll make a compromise. Call him what? Shneor. Two lights. Meir and Uri. And they said, okay, that's how the name Shneor was born. That's how names are born. It's an old Kabbalistic thing that it's not good to name people after angels. It's not good. They're not stable people.
Wow.
They're not stable people. The Chachamim say because that the names Michael, Givrael, Raphael, Muriel are already over abused, so therefore it has become a human name. You can use it. But about Eliyahu was a human being first. That's true. Names have a lot of power. Don't change your name. Don't change your name. You have to be proud that your name is a Jewish name. The Jewish people didn't change their name. If the Jewish people's main guidance, not guidance, their main pride in Egypt was the fact that they didn't change their names, doesn't it small? The Chida, like I just said, when he went to Italy, he was very upset. He wanted to make an enactment to change all the tombstones. That's how bad it was. Because how you put on your tombstone, your name is Peter, one of the 12 disciples of JC. Who calls their son Peter? Their name is Peter, Paul, Luke, Rothschild. What kind of names is that? You gotta name your son a Jewish name. So how did Moshe have the right to go to a guy who's his student, a very good guy by the way, Hoshea bin Nun, and say, congratulations, you graduated. You went from Hoshea to Yoshua. That's not fair. How did Yoshua accept that? How did he accept that? We don't even have one. We're going to learn next week's parasha in Korah, when the Jewish people were falling, were dying in the Magifah after Korah went inside the earth alive. You know what they told Moshe? You, I don't want to say it in front of the camera, but I'm going to say it. The Midrash says. I believe it's also a Rashi. They told Moshe that you took our wives as your concubines when we're not looking. They accused him of one of the worst sins in the Torah. One of the worst sins in the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu got so upset when they said it to him. He said, Hashem, just do whatever you want with them. I'm sick of them already. If they're going to accuse me of that, I'm sick of them. Don't look at Moshe. Yeah, we see Moshe as, back then in their time, Moshe, he was their buddy. When he died, they couldn't wait for his Avilut to be over. They were counting the days. Day 1, like Omer. Day 2, day 3, day 4, day 30 came. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. They preferred Yoshua over Moshe.
Why?
When Aaron died, when Aaron HaKohen died, oh, what kind of hespedim they made. They didn't want to stop crying. The Torah says in Sefer Devarim, they didn't want to move from Hor Ahar. That's the mountain, double mountain. They didn't want to move. They loved Aharon. You know why? When you're a rabbi, when you're a leader of a congregation, people hate you. If they don't hate you, you're not doing your job. It's always easy to be the second in command. It's always easy to be the nice guy, you know? The rabbi said this, don't worry, we're going to do this on the side, you know? They like you. He's taking their side, but the rabbi is tough. He has to be tough, so they just want to get rid of him. My question is, what relationship did Moshe and Yoshua have To the point where he changed his name and he didn't even second guess it. Rashi says that Moshe saw that Yoshua was a very humble man. And I explained to you before, a person who has the letter Yud in front of his name, it means he has the potential of being very humble. A person who has the letter Yud in front of his name, the first letter of his name, has the potential of being an extremely humble person. And then Moshe prayed for him that God should save Yoshua from the advice, from the etzat of the Meraglim. I have two questions. Why did Moshe pray specifically for Yoshua? Why didn't he pray for the other ones?
Because he was humble.
Because he was humble? I mean, the other guys were Nisi'im. Anshe Shem, you know what Anshe Shem means? Men of valor. He was not regular people. Gadaev ben Yefuneh was there.
Oh, he was a shevet. He was all that.
He was Keneged Shevet Levi, you're saying. That's an answer. Okay, say that. We want to say something novel. We want to say a novel approach. And second of all, what did he specifically see? How come Gadaev ben Yefuneh, even though Moshe didn't pray for him, was able to be saved without the blessing of Moshe? And first of all, we have to understand one thing. The Shulchan Aruch discusses in length in Siman Reish Mem Bet, right after the halachot of respecting your parents. Right after the halachot of respecting your parents, the Shulchan Aruch has one siman with 36 seifim, the halakha of how to respect your rabbi. It's a very big siman. Chaim Tovim. How to respect your rabbi.
Bring him coffee.
In fact, it's one of the longest simanim.
Bless you.
36 seifim, and one halakha. It's not normal. You have halachot, 10 seifim, 10 halachos in one chapter, 5 halachot, 3 halachot, 36. How to respect your Rav. The Torah places a lot of importance in that. I want to tell you guys a story. A very important story. The Shulchan Aruch, the code of Jewish law, is based on 3 rabbis. The Rosh, the Rif, and the Rambam. Close, but no cigar. Give him a tissue box. The Rosh, his name was Rabbeinu Asher, ben Rabbi Yechiel. He had a rabbi called Meir, Rabbi Meir from Rothenburg, city in Germany. Rabbi Meir Merutenberg, as we know him, or we call him in the Shulchan, in the Rishonim, Maharam. He died a very horrible death. Very horrible death. He was the greatest halachic authority in Ashkenaz, in Germany. The greatest. In a time of the end of the Tosafot. The end of the Tosafot period. In Rothenburg, the Duke, his name was Rudolph. Like Santa's favorite reindeer. Rudolph. The Emperor Rudolph, the Duke. He had a gambling problem. A gambling problem. Too many nights in Las Vegas. Blackjack or whatever they call that. What do they call that one? Roulette. Yeah.
Roulette.
This guy spent almost all of his money, and he was wealthy. He had bad luck. Rudolph had bad luck. And he lost a lot of money. Business ventures, gambling, business partners. So he had a very good idea. The Jews have a halakha. You're allowed to sell a Sefer Torah to get a Jew out of jail. So I'm going to start stealing Jews and make them pay up to take their brothers out of jail, out of the dungeon. Now back then, it wasn't like today. Jail people get arrested to go to jail on purpose. To eat, to sleep, free housing. People like you, it's like your own small community. So you're a gated community. People don't live in gated communities today. Take it right now in Kew Gardens over there. It's the gated community over there. Very nice community. It's like a jail. With nice scenery and security. So he decided, if I'm going to steal a Jew, I'm not going to steal a regular Jew. I'm going to take the father of all Jews, the Maharam Rothenburg. I'm going to steal him. And I'm going to ask such an amount, I could gamble for the rest of my life. He had a disease, an addiction. He did it. He put false charges on him. And he put him inside a dungeon. In a dungeon that was notorious for people dying over there, called Eisenheim. Sounds German, doesn't it? It was German. Eisenheim. The Maharam Rothenburg was there, and the emperor, the Duke Rudolph, he asked for over 10,000 golden ducats, which was an insane amount of money. And the Jews were starting to collect. And he sent a letter to all the Jewish communities in Germany and in France. He said to them, if you guys will collect the money to take me out of jail, all of you guys will be going over Isur from the Torah. You must, according to the halacha, leave me in the jail. So they said, then why? He said, I hold the halacha is you're not allowed to pay more than a person's worth. If a person is worth $10,000, you can't spend $20,000 to get him out of jail. This is the halacha according to me. So how can I allow you to go over the Torah that I hold? This is my halacha. I'm one of the Rishonim. And the Am Yisrael was going crazy because how would they live without him? He's in jail. They have very little contact with him. But he didn't let them bail him out. For 12 years he sat in jail. One of the worst, despicable, disgusting places. The Tower of Eisenheim. With rats. Non-kosher food. He died there. And this Goy, this Amalek, the great-grandfather of Hitler, Yamach Shemo, said, you want to bury your rabbi, you're still going to have to pay up.
Passed away?
He was already dead, in jail. In jail, he was dead. For 12 years, they left his body inside the dungeon. 12 years, it was so much money. They didn't let him go. 12 years, his body didn't rot. Like he was asleep. After 12 years, a rabbi, a businessman called Rabbi Alexander Ziskin, who was extremely rich, said, I'm going to bail him out of jail. He spent all of his fortune, he was a very rich man, himself, to take Rabbi Maharam Rothenburg's body out of jail and put him inside a Jewish burial. That night he had a dream. And he saw the Maharam in a dream, and he said to him, I'm giving you two choices. Because you put my soul inside the resting place, I'm giving you two choices. Either you're going to be rich, so rich, till the time Mashiach comes, the wealth will not stop from your family. Wow. Or number two, you're going to die tomorrow, but you're going to be sitting right next to me in Olam Haba.
Wow, that's it.
Yashar. Ish Yashar. La Yesharim.
Front row.
Guess what he picked?
The second one.
He wasn't Bukhari. He picked the second one. He said, I want to die tomorrow. Who's listening already? Come on. He said, I'm going to die tomorrow. Just to sit with you. Until today, if you're going to go to the city of Rothenburg,
Where is it?
in Germany, it's a certain city, you see, it's still there, their graves. Rabbi Alexander, and right next to him is his...
What years was that?
This was about 700 to 800 years ago. How did... By the way, I want to tell you something. Only you will appreciate this. Rabbi Zilber said if I was him, I would have picked the first one.
Why?
Because you know how many mitzvot I could have done
I
as
was-
well? You
I
know
was
how many
thinking
mitzvot
about
I
it.
could have done with that? Only you understand what I'm talking about. So not only Bukharis, also Russians would have picked the first one. How was he able to lose Judaism? How? To give up all of his wealth for his children. You know, I think it was last year, me and my brother and a friend of his, so we all worked together. We all decided to do shiluach haken, send the bird away, and take them in a open place. We found a place under the train tracks, old train tracks. Huh? There was many pigeon nests over there. We went in the middle of the night, after 1 o'clock at night, and we sent away the mother birds. We all were looking for nests, and we picked up the nest. I had this mitzvah 3 times in my life. One time was in your father's backyard. He made the place hefker, and I did it over there. Yeah. Second place, I did it in that spot under the railroad tracks. And then I did it again the next day. I brought 2 of my friends with me, and 2 o'clock at night. 2 o'clock at night. 2 in the morning, I'm sorry. And we did it together. We went a 3rd time, and we brought another friend with us. My brother's friend, not mine. He went to do it. And on the car, we had a very heated exchange. I said to him, you know why we have kids? You know why we do mitzvot and Torah? He said, yeah. You know why? For our children. That's what he said. For our I do it for my kids, but they should have an easy life. I said to him like this. After you die, they might do a yeshua for you for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. And then it becomes just what? A habit. If you're not going to take care of yourself in your life, no one's going to take care of you. If you're not going to take care of your spiritual upbringing, no one's going to take care of you. Your children are not going to have your back in Shamayim. You might have their back, but they're not going to have your... He was fighting with me for 30 minutes in the car. No, Judaism is all about, you got to do it for your children, I'm like, listen, you do whatever you got to do. No. At the end, we went over there, we found the pigeon's nest. He didn't want to do it. He was too scared to do it. The pigeons will have Ebola, Shmibola. I don't know what kind of story he concocted over there. Now, you have a mitzvah. People do this mitzvah once in their life. You're not going to do it, I'm not doing it. I'm too scared.
I wouldn't do it.
That's what happens. When you don't understand the basics of Judaism, the Torah and mitzvot is only for one thing, that you should have a place in Gan Eden. You should do what Hashem wants. If you don't have that idea inside your head, put down 100%. You cannot be successful in Limud Torah. You won't be successful. Rabbi Alexander Ziskin understood that. He never met the Maharam Rothenburg. He never met him. He was a young boy when he was in jail.
Yeah, it was 24 years.
Yeah, he was a young kid. He never met him. But you know what? He said, this is my Rebbe. I accept this as my Rebbe. Whatever my Rebbe says, I do. You never met him in your life. I learned his books. I follow his way. He's my Rebbe. The Lubavitchers call a Rebbe a Nasi. You know what Nasi means? Nitzotzei Nishmat Yaakov Avinu. All the souls of the Jews are the sparks of Yaakov Avinu. A Rebbe has a soul that includes all the sparks of Yaakov Avinu. If he's your Rebbe, your soul is really inside of him. Until you don't understand that and able to bend your will to him, now some rabbis take advantage of that. Tell you to pick up their dry cleaners, this, that. I heard stories like that. Do shopping for him. I'm not talking about that. I once heard a beautiful thing, guys. A beautiful thing. I have to share it with you. If a person comes to a rabbi and he tells him, Rabbi, I have a certain crisis in my life. What should I do? The rabbi tells to do A, B, C. If you tell your rabbi after that, but I can't do that because E, F, G, then the rabbi says do E, F, G. already the rabbi is not giving you advice from Hashem. He's not a pipe from Hashem. When the rabbi tells you the first thing, it's like naming a child. When he tells you do A, B, C, that's it. It came from his mouth. Hashem put that in his mouth. You gotta do it. But Alexander Ziskin said to himself, I'd rather give up fabulous wealth. You know how rich he could have been back then? Gold. There was no dollar bills. Everything was gold. I'd rather give up everything to uphold my Rebbe. You never met the guy. Yehoshua ben Nun, whose name was Yehoshua. You know what he was? A piece of brick. His job in the yeshiva was to clean the place. He was a fighter, you know. Sometimes you're in a class and there's that guy who's always really loud and always has to say his opinion. And always says something that's weird. That was Hoshea. That was Yehoshua. How do we know? When Amalek came to fight, who did Moshe send to fight? Yehoshua. Why? This guy's a fighter. Let him use his skills for something good. Yehoshua was not a Talmid Chacham, at least in the beginning. But the love that a Rebbe has with his student, the student feels too. The student feels that too. If you don't feel a love from your Rebbe, he's not your Rebbe. To the point, if your Rebbe tells you to change your mazal, you have to listen to him. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu did. Moshe Rabbeinu went to Hoshea, your name is Yehoshua. What? He didn't say that. Rebbe, you said my name is Yehoshua. Congratulations, guys. Let's make a Kiddush in Lashem. From today on, my name is Yehoshua. No Aliyah Torah, no nothing. My name is Yehoshua. That's it. My Rebbe said it, I'm doing it. That's it. Finished. End of story. Why did Moshe pray for Yehoshua? You know why he prayed for Yehoshua? You know why he prayed specifically only for Yehoshua and not for the other guys? Okay, amazing chidush tonight. Amazing chidush. Moshe Rabbeinu thought when Yehoshua was going to go with the spies, he knew Yehoshua would not fall to their advice. If they would even have it. He knew he wouldn't fall. But you know what he said? Last week's parasha in Baalotcha, Eldad and Meidad, what did they have a prophecy? Moshe is going to die and Yehoshua is going to take them into Eretz Yisrael. So he said Yehoshua is going to sabotage the whole thing to kill himself, just so Moshe will bring them into Israel. Did you just hear what I said? You guys lost what I just said. I gotta say it again. Last week's parasha, Moshe Rabbeinu put his prophecy on 70 elders. There were 2 extra guys called Eldad and Meidad.
They stayed in.
Yeah, they stayed in. They were humble.
They didn't leave the camp.
Yeah. And Eldad and Meidad had a prophecy. 2 prophecies. Number 1, Moshe is gonna die and Yehoshua is gonna take them into what? Into Israel. Second prophecy it had is what? Gog uMagog. It's a Gemara. So Moshe Rabbeinu knew that Yehoshua was very humble. He would rather sacrifice his life than to see his Rebbe die. He would rather sacrifice his life than to see his Rebbe die. The Likutei Rabbi Moshe Yaakov Ribakov, or the Sandlar HaKadosh, said that Yehoshua, he knew Yehoshua was gonna kill himself. He was gonna go on a suicide mission. Just so Moshe will take the Jews into Israel. Why? Because the first letter of his name was what? A Hey. You know what a Hey is? Hey is the letter of Baalei Tshuva. A Baal Tshuva, when he gets religious by a certain rabbi, he's stuck to him like white on rice. He's addicted to him. So Moshe said, I want you to graduate. I don't want you to be a Baal Tshuva anymore. I want you to go up from the letter Hey to the letter Yud. I want you to be a leader now. Use your humbleness to be a leader because that's the quality of a leader. Why didn't he pray for Kalev and the other Meraglim? Why specifically for Yehoshua? Yehoshua, if you guys know this, never had any baby boys. He only had girls. His wife was Rachav. She was a certain, I'm not going to say what she was. She was a very, very attractive woman.
That was the person.
And she used her attractiveness, well, she was a goy. Before she converted, to do certain things, and Yeshua ended up marrying her. And the Gemara says, I'm going to read it to you guys today, B'ezrat Hashem, that he never had boys from her, only girls. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, Yehoshua knows in his future he doesn't see any baby boys in the stars. So he will say to himself, what's the difference? I'm with the Meraglim, I'm not with the Meraglim. My children won't have a portion in the land of Israel. What's the difference? So Moshe said to this kind of guy, he's like, what are those guys in the Japanese army when they kill themselves? Kamikaze?
Samurais.
No. Kamikaze. He's like a kamikaze fighter.
Nothing to do.
He has nothing to lose. He's not going to have any baby boys. What's the difference? Moshe says, no. If you make one person religious, he's like your child. You teach somebody Torah, he's like your child. I remember last week, like I told you guys before, I was in a certain nefila, personal stuff. It's not what you guys think it is. And I remember after Shabbat, I talked to one kid in the school where I teach. I said to him, he keeps Shabbat, just one problem he has, he's addicted to nicotine. So he likes to smoke his jewel.
Oh, interesting.
You know what jewels are? It's like the new craze for kids. Watch out, it looks like a USB.
Oh, it's electronic?
Yeah, electronics. Everybody looks like a USB. It's pure nicotine. And I told him, you're going to keep Shabbat this week. He said, no, it's hard for me. I said, then you're going to keep Shabbat this week. Promise me you're going to keep Shabbat this week. He calls me right after Shabbat. He says to me, Rebbe, it's the first time in a very long time I kept Shabbat. Because of you. Every time I touched that jewel, I took it out of my drawer. I said, I promised my rabbi I'm not going to do it. And I put it back. It went back and forth 5, 10 times. Put this, that. I'm not going to do it. He put it back. That's the connection a student has to have with his Rebbe. If you don't have that, then you don't have a Rebbe. If you don't consciously think of him like that, he's not your Rebbe. You're not his student, and he's not your Rebbe. It has to be the Shulchan Aruch says, Chayav Adam Bichvod Rabo, you're obligated to respect your Rebbe and to fear him, V'yirato yoter mishel aviv, more than your own father. Why? A guy gets married, he leaves his parents, he goes sticks with his wife. Where does it say that in the Torah? A Rebbe, he never leaves you. He's like, we're sitting over here learning Torah. In Gan Eden, we're going to be doing the same thing, just not with Chinese food, with man. B'ezrat Hashem. And the water from the well of Miriam.
Amen.
You understand what I'm saying, guys? That's the power between the student and a Rebbe. You know why Yehoshua didn't get it? Moshe changed his mazal? Because he knew one thing. His mazal is Moshe. Moshe is his father. That's why he's never called Yehoshua Ben Nun. He's not called Ben Nun. You know what he's called? Bin Nun. There's a nikuda missing over there, a dot. You know what that dot is? That's the letter Yud. That's the letter Yud. Who gave him that dot? Moshe. Moshe is his father. Moshe is his Rebbe. Moshe is everything. Many people think, I'm going to end with this, that a person thinks that I learned Torah from somebody, I'm going to break off from him, I'm going to teach Torah without his permission, and I'm going to be something great myself. Those people never get anywhere in life. They don't become leaders, they don't become anything. They stay in the same level that they are. They have no malchut whatsoever. I can't, it's already late, I didn't think it would go this far. But the Shulchan Aruch says over here, in the city where your Rebbe lives, you can't say halacha. In the city, it's halacha for Shulchan Aruch. It's halacha for Shulchan Aruch.
What does that mean?
Siman Reish Mem Bet Seif Dalet Asur la'adam le'orot lifnei rabo. You're not going to say halacha in front of your Rebbe. Le'olam, forever. V'kol hamoreh halacha, and if you say halacha in front of your Rebbe, chayav mita. Rashi says, what's chayav mita? Chayav mita bidei shamayim. You're chayav mita in heaven, and there's our Tosfot in Masechet Yevamot that says the person like that is going to die before the age of 60. And if he's within shalosh parsaot, it's asur. Even if you're within shalosh parsaot, you know what shalosh parsaot is? It's a very long distance. You're inside it. You're not allowed to say halacha. You have to say to that person, ask my Rebbe. Unless your Rebbe gives you permission to say halacha.
Oh, you can't. Wait, you can't.
You cannot say halacha. If your Rebbe is inside your vicinity, you're not allowed to answer halachic questions.
Okay.
You have to tell that person. You have to ask my
outside,
Rebbe.
can you say
Outside, yes.
But inside, you cannot say it for
You can't say chayav mita b'dei shamayim. It's crazy. It's not crazy. And it's 36 halachot like this. 36. We can't even get into it. So much over here. It's amazing. It says over here, kol haomer lerabo bishmo asur letalmid. It's prohibited for a student to say to his Rebbe, to call his Rebbe by his name, not in his life and not in his death.
So how do you allow
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Now, let's say, for example, your Rebbe has a very weird name. And you have a friend that has a weird name like that too. You can't call your friend by his name. You know why? Since that's a weird name and it's your Rebbe's name, you can't say it. People will think you're making fun of your Rebbe. It's crazy. You know what? I promise you guys, I'm going to tell you some stories of Salman, of Mordechai Eliyahu. Because today's is your side. Today's is your side. When you go home tonight, light a candle. Lezecher Rabbi Mordechai ben Rabbi Salman. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, his father, had a very interesting life. This guy had a full scholarship to go to Oxford University. You know what Oxford University is?
England.
Harvard, Yale, and what's the other Ivy League schools? Princeton. They don't even hold a match to Oxford. Oxford is the university. He had a full scholarship, and he was what? He was an Iraqi boy. Of Mordechai Eliyahu's father, Iraqi. One day, he's walking past the yeshiva of the Ben Ish Chai, and the Ben Ish Chai had Ruach HaKodesh. Hashem opened up his channel, his pipe, and he said to him, "The boy, come here, come over here, I want to tell you something." He said, "Come here." He comes over here. He says, "Why don't you learn a little Torah? You have such a brain." The boy knew French, he knew English. He knew Arabic, he knew Hebrew, so many languages, tough languages too. He says, "Why don't you learn a little Torah?" He knew that if he would just open up his appetite a bit, the boy would never stop learning. This boy started to learn so much. One day he tells his parents, "I'm not going to Oxford. I missed the train on purpose." His uncle gets up, takes the watermelon, and he wanted to smash it on top of the boy's head. It was Hashem's miracle that he missed him. He threw the watermelon and it exploded almost on his head. The Ben Ish Chai told Rav Mordechai Eliyahu's father, "You're going to be one of the greatest Kabbalists the world will ever see." And he was. Rav Salman Eliyahu wrote the book R.Shalom. Any Mekubal learns his book. It's like a Tosfot in the Gemara. He wrote 50 chapters. It was such a holy commentary that robbers, thieves, stealers broke inside his house and stole 25 chapters from his commentary. Till today, we don't have it. Till today. He was such a big tzaddik that the English officers, the British officers in Israel, when he moved to Israel, they used to give him kavod. When he used to walk in the streets of Yerushalayim, no Arab used to touch him. So much kavod they used to give him. He had a son, Mordechai. He called him Mordechai. Ended up becoming one day the chief rabbi of Israel. I'm going to tell you one story. I want you guys just to listen, and I heard it from his mouth. Don't say I'm exaggerating. In Judaism, we have 3 marans. You know what 3 marans is? 3 rabbis, we listen to them incognito.
At the same time.
Yeah.
On undercover.
They're big. Like, they're behind all our halachot. Number 1, Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo. Number 2, the Chida, Rabbi Yosef Chaim David Azulai. And number 3, either many people follow the Ari HaKadosh, Maran HaAri, or people follow today, in our generation, Rav Ovadia. But most people follow the Ari. Sfaradim follow the Ari HaKadosh. The Chida, his name was Yosef also. When he died in Italy. There was a very big danger when Rav Mordechai Eliyahu was a young boy that the graveyard, the cemetery in Italy of the Jews would be overrun and destroyed by hooligans, by Kritmas. So the chief rabbi of Jerusalem, R.Shalom, sent a letter to 3 rabbis, Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. He was a young boy. He was maybe 35, compared to the other rabbis he was working with, Rav Shalush of Netanya and Rav Liniado. He said, the 3 of you, I'm giving you a job to take the bones of the Chida from Italy and transfer them to Israel. It's a very big thing. Many people who move the bones of a tzaddik die within the year.
Oh, wow.
It's a very big thing. Like, you don't want to mess with a tzaddik's resting place. But it was sakanat nefashot in a way, because they were going to desecrate the tzaddik's bones. The plane comes from Italy. They were moving the graveyard, and there was boxes over there. There was a big box of a guy who just died, like this big, and there was a small box. The small box was the bones of who?
Chida.
The Chida. Because he died like 300 years ago, so all was left was what? The bones. And there's a halacha, when you bury somebody after a long time, you have to put the bones in the right order. So unless you took anatomy physiology in college, you don't know what goes where.
But
Even then you wouldn't know.
Isn't it like, is it covered? Everything is...
Yeah, no, it was open.
Why you have to open it?
When they took him out of the grave, it was open. So Rav Mordechai Eliyahu opens the box and he sees the bones of the Chida. It was a very frightening moment for him. And he looks at the bones. It's a true story. I heard it from his mouth. He said like this. He says, Maran Achida. He was 35 years old. The other 2 rabbis were Gdolei Ador. They stood back. They were afraid. He says, I don't know where is your head and where is your leg. Please fix yourself. This is not a story from 300 years ago. This is a story from 30, 40 years ago. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu says, at that moment, there was like a mini earthquake on the table. Everybody in the room from fright fainted. He said Rav Shalush fell on the floor so hard you could feel like a thud. It was like a mini earthquake on the floor. He was a big guy. He fell on the floor the box started to move by itself. And Rav Mordechai Eliyahu says, I almost fainted, and I saw how the bones started to move inside the box. The head started to go in the beginning of the box, and the legs went to the end of the box. True story.
Wow.
He closed the box, and he went to Har HaMenuchot and he buried him. That was Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. Tonight is his yortzeit. I remember when he passed away, it was a couple of years before Rav Ovadia passed away. It was the first time that I ever cried at the death of a tzaddik. When he was very sick, there was a group of Jews, and I was part of them, that would finish Tehillim once a day. I used to take on myself always Sefer Revi'i. I used to finish Tehillim once a day. I was in college back then. We used to finish Tehillim once a day. When he died, Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, in his wallet, what do we have in our wallet? A picture of our kids, some cash, this, that. You know what they found over there? That he was part of a secret society of tzaddikim. They used to gather every once in a while and used to pray for Mashiach. And in his wallet, they found a certain letter. It said over there, me, Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, and the other rabbis didn't say their name because they're part of a secret society. We beseech HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we make a psak din. You know what psak din is? A halacha that you have to bring Mashiach now. Tonight is a very big night. The zechut of the tzaddik is open. We're not in his grave. I once made a opening of a book. I don't believe in doing it. Sometimes I do it for myself. I asked the Kadosh Baruch Hu, I said, Hashem, I can't go to the grave of the tzaddikim. They're in Israel. If I light a candle on the table, and I pray by a candle, and I think as if I'm by the grave, will it be counted as if I went to the grave? And I opened up the Chumash, and I opened up the pasuk of Kalev ben Yefuneh. When Kalev, in the Rashi over there, says that he went to pray by the graves of the forefathers of Avraham, Yaakov, I said, then from here I know, it was a sign for me from Shammai, that every time you light a candle and you pray by the candle, it's as if you're by the grave, if you're very far away. Can't let these opportunities pass. You have to believe, Rabbi. You must believe, and it's true.
Amen.
So tonight, Rabotai, take a candle. Lezecher, Elun Nishmat, but they both work. Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu ben Rabbi Salman. Learn a little Torah by the candle. Ask your wishes. Pretend like you're speaking to the tzaddik. And you never know. Maybe Hashem is going to open up your pipes. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. We have 10 over here.